Hello, welcome to the Bushcraft Medic YouTube channel. I am the Bushcraft Medic. Today I want to talk to you about essential knowledge. This knowledge that I'm about to present you with, I cannot claim to have discovered. This is stuff that I got from much more experienced, better men than I am in their skill sets. And so I just want to go ahead and put it forward to you as my research and my limited experience has validated it. And I believe I can put it out there with 100% confidence that you will find it to be useful. The first I got from Ron Hoods, and it is the rule of threes. I modified it a little bit because I have a tactical mindset, and I understand that it's not just about survival, it's about defense. You can go about 3 seconds without some sort of defensive tool, some defensive measure. By that I mean if there's something big and nasty that intends to do you harm, if you don't have a way to stop it, you could be dead in as short a time frame as 3 seconds. Whether it's a mugger, a rapist, a bear, a mountain lion, a shark, it hits a vital artery, it hits a vital organ, and it will kill you. You will bleed out, will drop into shock, and you will be dead, and someone will have to be mourning you at your funeral. So, have some sort of defensive tool. For me, it's one of my different firearms. Normally, if I'm out in the woods or, in a more available setting, I'll take my ZZ. If not, I'll take my Ruger LCP 380. It's small, compact. Same thing. I always, even if I have a firearm, I carry some form of knife. This is my bushcraft knife. This is my daily carry knife, also a bushcraft knife. I always carry, something to help me. And that's not to say that you should rely just on tools. Learn to defend yourself. Go take a self-defense course. You don't have to be a martial artist to know self-defense. Okay? A good Krav Maga instructor can teach you in 3 weeks to be pretty effective in defending yourself. So we've covered the first 3 seconds. Well, what about the first 3 minutes? In the first 3 minutes, the most important thing is, can you breathe? I know it sounds really simple. I know it sounds like, duh, well, if I can't breathe, things are going really badly. Well, that's the truth. And people find themselves in that circumstances all the time. Whether they are floating underwater or they're being crushed under, some snow because of an avalanche, they suffocate to death. If you find, and normally someone else is going to have to give them aid. If you find someone who's having a hard time breathing, know this. As a medic, the first thing we do is airway, breathing, circulation. I'm going to repeat that. Airway, breathing, circulation. It's important. And notice how important it is that the first 2 are airway and breathing, and they are separate. And the last one is circulation, which has to relate back to your breathing. Let me explain. Alright, airway is, do you have a physical ability to get air from the outside to your lungs? That's airway. Okay, there's no physical obstruction. Breathing is the action of actually taking those breaths. So, right now, my airway was clear, but I wasn't breathing. Okay? I could breathe, and something could be choking me. So I can breathe, but I have no airway. It's important that we make sure our airway is clear, our breathing's good, and finally, circulation confirms that the oxygen that we're breathing, that we're taking in, is making it throughout our bodies. The way we check is we check for pulses. We check to see underneath the eyelids, right down here, to see if it's turning blue. Those are some of the first. Under the gums, right in here. You check that for blue. Fingernail beds, they turn blue. Okay, so we want to look at those areas for cyanosis. That's the turning of blue color. Okay, that lets us know if it's turning blue. Hey, they're not getting oxygen. What does that mean? Well, hey, they're breathing, or maybe they're not. They're breathing, but they're not perfusing. That could be a danger to you. That could be an indicator that maybe you're in carbon monoxide, or maybe there's some other toxic agent that you're not breathing in oxygen anymore. You might share their fate. You don't know what happened to them. So just a thought. And later I'll go on over CPR and airway management and some of my other videos, but essential knowledge. So we've covered the first couple of seconds. We've covered the first minutes. Well, what about the first, we covered the first hours. Hours is going to be shelter. Okay, you need shelter within the first few hours. Most of the time, This is all the shelter that you'll require. Okay, your clothing, the right clothing for where you're going is essential. But in an extended survival stay, you'll need to have a backup plan. And that could be something as easy as, a mobile, portable backpacking hammock with a tarp, or, a little tube tent, or maybe just what you carry right here so that you can make a lean-to with a poncho or a primitive shelter with the tools around you. That's essential. I lived in Dominican Republic, and let me tell you, even in a tropical element, even in a tropical climate, if it rains and the temperature drops and the wind hits you, it will drop your body core temperature down. You will go hypothermic, your body will shut down, and you will die. Okay, I lived in Texas for nearly 20 years, and even somewhere in urban Texas, I'm not even talking out in the middle of nowhere, just in the normal city, if you're not careful, you will overheat, you will get heat exhaustion, heat stroke, you will pass out, you will die. Okay, the elements will kill you unmercilessly. Okay, they don't have a conscience, they will kill you. So, it's your job to prepare for what tools you need to survive in your environment, and that is shelter. Alright, you can spend the first 3 days without water. 3 days without water. Now, some people think that just a canteen's enough. Let me assure you that I go through my canteen on a hike. A 1 hour hike, I drink 1 liter of water. Okay, so you need to be aware of what the water sources are in your area. If you're going to go out camping, hunting, hey, take a map with you. Know where the water sources are. Look for the signs of water in your area. Learn how to read it. Learn that there's water stored in your water heater. Learn where water is going to be likely found. And that's essential so that you know where to look in a bad scenario so that you can go ahead and bring the necessary resources into your body. And believe me, without water, again, as a medic, I will guarantee you will die. It's going to be my catchphrase, you will die. Alright, so let's not let that happen. So you can go about 3 days without water. 3 weeks without food. Okay, 3 weeks without food. This right here probably gives me a bit more of an ability to last 3 weeks. But, and we say that kind of in jest, but the fact is, if you go out, take some high fatty foods. Take stuff that's going to sustain you. Be prepared for the eventuality that you may have to catch game or that you may have to scavenge things that maybe you never thought you'd eat, like bugs or rats. And I don't advocate that, but, hey, I've eaten my share of nasty stuff in the Corps. Let me tell you, man, you have to do what you got to do to sustain yourself because, again, if you do not, nothing else matters. All right? If you die, it doesn't matter how appetizing the McDonald's burger was you were going to go get. You're not getting it anymore. So, hey, be ready, be prepared, get your knowledge. So, to cover that again real quickly, 3 minutes without protection, 3 seconds without protection, 3 seconds without protection, 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. Okay? Remember those. Those were 5 things, which brings me up to the next 5 things. The 5 C's of survival. I got the 5 C's for survival, and I got that from Dave Canterbury. I recommend you go check him out on his YouTube channel. He's phenomenal. And this right here is my essential kit. If I'm outside, this never leaves my body. I sleep with this thing. Why? Because right here are 3 out of the 5 essential tools I need, and then some. In nature, there are some things that are just harder to recreate. A good cutting tool. You can say, I'm going to make flint and steel. You're not chopping down tons and tons of wood with flint and steel, or with flint, or obsidian. Okay, a good cutting tool. Your first and primary, and I'm about to touch on this in my next video. Second is cordage. I like cordage a lot. Fire. Let me tell you, I just had an experience where I went out to Ouachita National Forest. Okay, it was one of my first humps out there by myself. I can get a fire going. Let me tell you, I'm a big dude. I'm well protected. I'm pretty confident in myself, and it's scary as hell being out in the middle of nowhere where there's no one to help you and you don't have a fire to be able to look out and scare away what you might consider to be apex predators in your area. Okay? No fire is no fun. So have a way to start a fire. Not only is it good for protection, it gets your food ready, it makes your water ready to drink. It's essential. Alright, so out here we have our 3 cutting tool, cordage, combustion tool. The other things that you're going to need is a container. And for me, I decided on a 1 liter stainless steel so that I can use it to boil. But I choose 1 liter because, again, back on my handy dandy Becker BK2, I have some water purification tabs in here, as well as some wet fire, but that's another thing. I have some water purification tabs, and those are designed to purify 1 liter of water. So for the sake of simplification of your chemical purification tabs, a liter. If you get a bigger container, just mark where your 1 liter is. That way you have an idea of what you're doing. And the last thing is some sort of carrying tool. A backpack is fine, but even something like this or a bedroll. Wrap your stuff in it, get some cordage, wrap it around, make a sling out of it. Now you got a way to carry stuff. So those are your 5 C's of survival. Cutting tool, combustion, cordage. Then you have your water container and your carrying space. There's a few others, but those are your essentials. And the reason that this is important is now that you know what you need, those first 5 things that you need in the rules of 3, you can make that happen with your 5 C's of survival. That is my video on essential knowledge. I hope you found it useful. For further knowledge on this and more information, feel free to either stay tuned to me or go check out Dave Canterbury's Pathfinder School. It's phenomenal. This is Bushcraft Medic, out.